Welcome back to another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I'm your host, Stephen Bardo. It's time, y'all. You see what it is. The paint is back in the hair. So we're here at college basketball season. We're about 34 days out of the start, and I'm really excited. Been to a practice or two here. I will get more into that on the newsletter. So make sure that if you're interested in joining Bardo's Breakdown, make sure you get on the newsletter. I'll put that up in a second. But fun show. Got a shorter segment with Rapheal Davis. We didn't go as long this time. Kind of fun topics, couple fun topics we'll get into. Then we'll do a Fighting Illini preview and an Indiana Hoosier preview of key players, some non-conference games to watch, and things to look out for. And then we'll do a tribe member appreciation. I got a fun video for you, and then I'll take your questions, all right? All that on Bardo's Breakdown today. Ryan, hit that intro, my man. Similar on our venues. You've got Purdue, Michigan State, Maryland, Rutgers, and Nebraska. I was very similar in that, but mine's a little bit different. Let me ask you about Michigan State. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That's the only one that I had. I had Indiana in there as opposed. We had Purdue, Maryland, Rutgers, Nebraska. You had Michigan State. I have Indiana. Why would you pick Michigan State over Indiana?
I think I look at the last 2-3 seasons from Indiana, from Mike Woodson's tenure, or even from Archie's. I've heard Indiana fans boo their own team too much. You can't be in this top list if you booing your own team. Like last season, they was booing those dudes. And if I'm on the opposing team and rather I'm in that game or I'm watching that on TV, I'm not scared to go there. They mad at their own team. So I think Indiana's fans have got to come together a little bit more. I think they're divided right now. But I think with Michigan State, like when they're good, when they have a team, when they have a Michigan State team, the fans are with it. Like I don't think they've had a Michigan State toughness type of team in the last 4 or 5 years. Well, since Like they haven't had. Like, I think this is a year where Cohen Carr's going to be hanging on rims. Xavier Booker's going to be kind of who we thought he could be. I think Jeremy Fears is that point guard that's exciting the crowd a little bit with the speed of his play. So I think Michigan State is tough. And then I think Maryland, when they're winning, when they're going, they bring that flag down at that under 16, and it's not much you're going to be able to do.
Yep.
So I think, and then Nebraska is extremely tough, and Rutgers when they're rolling, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. And for those of you Big Ten fans that call yourselves really lifers, do yourself a favor and go to a game at these venues. Mm-hmm. Maryland last year, they had struggles, but when they're rocking, Maryland's rocking,
like that time when that game when I know UCLA blew the doors off of them, but that gym was rolling. Like they had it going, like that first 6 minutes before UCLA really took it over.
Yep.
But that's when Maryland's top 25, they come out. They come out to show.
Yeah, and again, guys, if you have not been to a game at Rutgers, you got to go to the Rack. I don't give a damn about Jersey Mike's arena name. Yep. It's the Rack, and it's perfect because it's old school. Them Jersey cats get up in there, and they got a different energy on the East Coast.
Yep.
And I love calling games there, man, because it's a unique feel, and it is tough. I mean, I've seen Illinois go down. We've seen Purdue go down. I've seen Wisconsin go down. I've seen Indiana look pedestrian in that spot. They get teams in there, man, and they really put pressure on them. Those fans are all over you. And in Nebraska, Pinnacle Bank Arena, you guys, Nebraska is such a unique place in that it's the pro team in the state of Nebraska, and they really treat it like that. The facilities are great, the fan base is great, and Nebraska hasn't been cutting down nets, guys, but they still have fan support as good as any program in the Big Ten. So I love these picks here, man. And again, my only different one was Indiana because I'm nostalgic a little bit, and I can remember
Yeah.
I was in the building when Indiana beat Kentucky on
Mm.
Christian Watford's jumper.
Yep.
And the place went up for grabs. I don't know if I've seen a venue that was that crazy.
Oh, no, I'm with you. My brother worked for the team during that time. I remember he FaceTimed me, showed me all, like, he was there. Yeah. And I remember, like, my loudest away venue would have been Indiana I played in, because I remember Victor Oladipo went down with an ankle injury. We were playing him, and then he went down the hole. You could hear the breath go out of the arena. Like, everybody, it was towards the end of the season. It's February. They're already up by 20. Game over. He go down, and everybody just gasped. But then next thing you know, he come running back through those doors in the arena. They didn't care about what was going on the floor, and that was the probably the loudest I ever heard of away venue get. So when Indiana, I think this year is going to be a year where they can have some fun, but those last couple of years, it bothered me a little bit.
No, it's a very good point, Rapheal, because like you're saying, that energizes an opposing team. If your home crowd is booing you.
I remember Purdue fans, I mean, they booed us. That year we were last place in the Big Ten. I can remember Tyrone Johnson, he missed probably 6 free throws and they started booing us. So it's like but you can see the other team, you can see them light up.
Yep.
You can also feel the other teams, they come in, they're not scared to come in here.
Yep.
So, I've been there with it.
No, that's ladies and gentlemen, y'all understand now why I have Rapheal on, because he's given great perspectives and things that I didn't even think about in terms of the last few years. Because I've been at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I'm trying to be PC there. I've been there calling games, and that crowd may be next to Purdue, maybe as expressive.
Yeah.
Michigan State is pretty much behind them for the most part. But like you said, the gasp, Indiana fans, man, if they think you made a bad pass, you hear it.
They let you know.
and we got headphones on, and you can still hear it. Yep. So it's a unique place to be. Our last topic here, Rapheal, and I'll get you out of here. Top Big Ten scores, and this is good. We're in agreement with Peyton Sanford and Dawson Garcia. You've got Mackenzie Mbako, Dylan Harper, and Trey Kaufman-Renn. We talk about Mackenzie again a little bit, and then Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Yeah, I put we got Mackenzie. I think Mackenzie's the usage rate will be super high. I think being a guy that's going to be on one of the better teams in the country, having the ball in his hands, I know people talk about 3-level scorers, but he's a guy. He's probably like a 5-level scorer because he can go get it on the ice. He can score from 3, get to the mid range, and get a basket at the rim. But he can post up, and then he can play ISO on the wing. So I think he's the guy that can and really shoot it. I think his percentages last season didn't show how well he can shoot the ball. And then I think he's been in the gym a bunch. And then Dylan Harper, again, I think he's going to have the ball in his hands so much. He's a guy that's with the size he has and the strength he has. Reminds me of D'Angelo Russell a bunch. I think he's going to be the guy to be able to come off a ball screen, put smaller guys in the post. He's a guy that's going to be able to go in and offensive rebound and steal some baskets. And then Purdue always replaces production. I think when you think of Zach Edey, no, you're not going to get another Zach Edey, but I think Trey Kaufman-Renn could be a guy that's averaging 18 points, especially how much they're going to give him the basketball. He's going to be the guy in the half court because I know Brandon Smith is unbelievable talent, but he still needs a ball screen. He needs somebody to come up there and set it. And now no one really talks about it, but that ball screen becomes a little bit different when it's not Zach Edey rolling to the rim. Because if I don't care about Jacobson or Will Berg, they're not no threat to me, I'm staying on this ball screen a little bit longer. That kind of deters what Brandon Smith may be able to do off of. I know he got a little bit better, but I'm just saying. But I think Trey Kaufman-Renn will be a guy that he's going to be able to score the ball in bunches.
No, I like that breakdown. I also think when you look at Purdue, you got Fletcher Lawyer on weak side. You're not helping off of him. Nope. You may have Miles Coven, who can go get his own. Cam Heide, you can space the floor. And I mean, even Caleb First, when he had some confidence, was able to space the floor. He kind of lost it last year. Yep. But I think Purdue's makeup is such that I think Trey Kaufman-Renn, you got to double team him, and then you're susceptible in the rotation, or he's going to and one you, or he's going to score. But either way, he's going to be very effective. I like that choice. Mackenzie Mbako, people forget, may have had the best second half of the season He was top 5 or 6 in terms of players in the second half of the Big Ten slate last season. He really came on down the stretch. I think that he'll show his shooting prowess a lot better. The thing of it is, man, I'm really curious to see what Dylan Harper's going to do. I have this old school mentality, and maybe I'm wrong. You keep mentioning D'Angelo Russell, which is a great comparison. And D'Angelo Russell had it. You just couldn't do anything with him. I know Dylan Harper has it. I'm just wondering, are these Big Ten coaches, man, from a defensive standpoint, they are good at making people uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And so the first time around, it's just going to be fascinating for me to see how Dylan Harper is going to handle that.
Because I think you look at go back to that Ohio State team with D'Angelo Russell. Give D'Angelo Russell another top 5 pick. It's like he goes off even more. Just
it's true.
Make Shannon Scott an offensive threat like Jeremiah Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you make Jayshawn Tate a guy that can make threes, like a Zach Martini. It's like the floor is so much more space. I know Kata Bates was really good, but he's not Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
I think with that type of talent that Rutgers has and can spread the floor, I'm a Rutgers fan nowadays.
No, hey, I love it. We're pretty much in it. My difference is John Blackwell, Jackson Shelstad, and Brooks Barnhizer. Now, I'm going to go with John Blackwell first. I was fortunate enough to go to Wisconsin's practice earlier this week and talking to Greg Gard. He said that he thinks John Blackwell is going to have a similar jump as Johnny Davis did from his freshman year to sophomore year, meaning that, okay, I'm the man. I can go get my shot anytime I want to. If you guys remember, John Blackwell was one of the most physically ready freshmen that we've seen in a little bit coming to the Big Ten. And Rapheal, you were talking about John and that injury situation. You want to touch on that?
No, I think the season changed when he went down. And I know a lot of things happened around the program, whatnot, but when John Blackwell early on, when he was playing 20, 25 minutes a game, he was giving 10 to 15 points. He was knocking down a couple of threes. He was giving a few rebounds. He was shooting it well, but he wasn't turning it over. He could play the 1, the 2, the 3. He can guard some small ball 4. I think now, like you're saying, I think John Blackwell realized, like Johnny Davis did when Johnny Davis did the USA basketball stuff, was that I'm just as good as these guys. Like, I can play too. And I think going in this offseason, when they brought in, you bring in that many transfers, I think John Blackwell understands now I'm just the best player on this team. And I think he's a guy that can shoot a 3. He has good footwork. He can go. He's athletic to finish at the rim. I think he's a guy that can jump his production big time, because when they started to lose, and this is just my opinion, they started to lose games when he started to get leashed back in. But when he just go and get those and ones, talk a little trash, play minutes, and not just be one turnover, you coming out the game, I thought Wisconsin was way more free-flowing.
No, I agree. And I think that John Blackwell, he's a little bit stronger. Yep. He was able to go in the offseason and get with some different people. One of them was Kendall Gill and Phoenix Gill. So I've got a couple nephews that are coming on like dogs here in the Big Ten. But no, I like John in that role. Jackson Shelstad, we've talked about him. Kwame Evans coming in as a McDonald's All-American. He's got talent around him. Jackson's going to get the ball in his hands. And you know that Dana Altman is one of the more creative offensive coaches that we're going to see in the Big Ten. So Jackson's going to be put in position, similar to Kuznard was last season, of being a guy who can lead the league in scoring. And then nobody talking about Brooks Barnhizer.
Man, and talk about Brooks Barnhizer, Coach McIntosh. I mean, Brian I put out a list and he hit me up right away. He said Brooks is going to be a guy. He said Brooks is ready to take over the offense. He's ready to be the number one guy offensively. I'm with you. I think Brooks is the guy that one's talking about, but on both ends of the floor, I think Brooks could be a guy that could sneak on one of the first or second teams all Big Ten if Northwestern can pull it together. No,
I agree. And you know, I think people forget now, or maybe they don't know, that Brooks Barnhizer was a prolific scorer in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, he played for his dad, but he can really go get it. He's big. He's strong. He can play 2 through 4 very comfortably. He's a mismatch nightmare for opposing guys that, you know, you put a smaller guy on him, he takes him in the post. You put somebody bigger, he can beat you off the bounce. I think his jump shot has gotten a little bit more consistent, and he's a guy. in playing for Chris Collins, who is one of the more creative offensive coaches, along with Fran McCaffrey and Dana Altman, that you're going to see in the Big Ten. And so he's a guy that I think that can really, really flex his muscles. You got any more thoughts on that, Rapheal?
I think Jackson Sells has to be a guy that ups his production. I think when you surrounded by talent and you're a guy that's had the end of the season that he had and kind of saw the tournament how he saw, played in probably one of the better tournament games, I think that gives you confidence going to the next season. So I think he's a guy that could get to 17, 18 points a game too and really help Oregon, because a lot of people are high on those dudes. So to help, I mean, if they want to compete to win the league, some people have them winning the league, top 2, 3 in the league. I may not, but if they're going to get to that position, it's got to be on the back of Jackson Shellstad.
No, very well said. Anything else you want to touch on, Rapheal, before we close?
I think I'm all good. I'm excited for the season. I think, especially you look at all these lists and look at the guys, the teams that may have multiple guys on lists or whatnot. I think the league is back to talent wise is going to be one of the better years in the Big Ten. I think talent wise, you're going to have draft picks, All-Americans, all conference guys, teams competing to win at a high level. I think it's going to be a fun year.
Exactly. Rapheal, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate you having coming on with Bardo's Breakdown. Let me hit my mic. There we go. That was Rapheal Davis. Appreciate you, Rapheal, for coming on. Always appreciate his contributions and the way that he looks at the game. It's always good to have multiple people that can contribute to how things shake out. All right. So moving on, I wanted to do so over the next 4 weeks. We've got 4 weeks until the start of college basketball. So each week, I want to take 2 teams that I believe are going to be in the top 8 of the Big Ten standings. Okay. And today I want to talk about Illinois and Indiana, because I think these 2 teams, a lot of people have Indiana favored to win. I think Illinois has the talent to win the Big Ten. This is a group, guys, that to me, here are your starters. Kasparas Yakushionis, I believe is how you pronounce it. Kylan Boswell, Ty Rogers, Ben Humriekhaus, Tomislav Ivicic. Now, Illinois has pretty much 2 starting 5s, and that seems to be the norm now in college basketball, in my opinion, is teams going out and basically getting 2 starting 5s. And so when you look at Kasparas Yakushionis, he is number 25 on One Draft, number 9 on Bleacher Report, number 18 on ESPN. These are all pre-draft rankings. And so Kasparas, the only reason I didn't put him in one of the leading scorers that I think in the Big Ten is because they're going to have a lot of guys that are going to score double digits. I think if things go well for Illinois, Kasparas could definitely be the leading scorer. But I think the way that Kylan can shoot the basketball has changed his body. I think Will Riley, a guy that I question because of his frame, but his talent is certainly there. Will is on, let's see. He didn't pop up on NBA Draft Room, NBA Draft Net. They didn't have him on there, but number 20 on Bleacher Report, number 22 on ESPN, pre-draft, mock draft. So you're looking at 2 potential first-round picks, Kasparas Yakushionis and Will Riley. So from the standpoint, I believe Boswell is going to get enough usage to hit double figures. I believe, obviously, Kasparas, Ben Humriekhaus, with his ability to, I think he's putting it on the deck a little bit more than maybe he was at Evansville. He'll be an action guy for Illinois that'll be able to create some mismatches. I wouldn't be surprised if Illinois had 4 or 5 guys that average double figures. I wouldn't be, because they're going to have to share the rock. They've got a number of guys that can attack. I've seen where they've got Trey White running some primary ball handling situations, because at 6'7", with his ability, he can be a guy that can create some actions. They've got all these guys can space the floor. Kylan, Ben Humriekhaus, even Gibbs Lawhorn can space. Jake Davis can shoot it. Ty Rodgers has been in the gym shooting the jump shot. I don't know that he'll be a knockdown three-point shooter, but he'll probably keep defenses more consistent. So this is a roster, ladies and gentlemen, that can contend for a Big Ten title, obviously. But I think Brad Underwood has his eyes on winning a national championship. So this is definitely a roster that will challenge for a Big Ten title, will challenge for a Big Ten conference tournament championship. And if they gel right, because they're going to, let's look at their non-conference. They've got early tests. Alabama and Birmingham, Arkansas and Kansas City, Tennessee at home. I mean, these are really, really good non-conference opponents. Oakland University is a team that was in the NCAA tournament last year. They've got the longest tenured head coach in college basketball right now, and Greg Kampe. I believe this will be his 40th or 41st season as head coach at Oakland University, and they really junk it up. They do some really exotic looks on the defensive end that kind of try to throw teams. I don't think Illinois have a problem with that, just the way that Illinois is playing now. It's not like a set offense. It's more let's find a mismatch and go at people. So it's going to be fun to see these key players that I don't think will start, but could start at any time. Will Riley, obviously, he may not start the season as a starter, but I'd be surprised if he wasn't starting at some point. Marez Johnson is a really high energy guy that can rim run. And I know that he's working on his offensive repertoire. Trey White is a guy that I just talked about. Kerry Booth, no one's really talking about, but his athleticism alone has him on some radars in terms of NBA mock drafts in 2025. I know NBA Draft Net has him at number 25 for a mock draft. And so he's a guy that obviously people are aware of his athleticism, and he's a guy that's going to be able to protect the rim. He shot the three, I believe, at 30% clip at Notre Dame last year. I think, you'll see that be consistent as well. So this is a team in Illinois that a tremendous upside for them. And I'm anxious to see how they fare in these early season challenges, because they are definitely going out and challenging themselves like an NCAA title contender, not just a Big Ten conference contender, but an NCAA title contender. Very, very talented squad. Now, moving on to Indiana. This is a team that many, in terms of preseason prognostications, many people have Indiana as a top team because they did so well in the NIL, in the portal situation, and they're doing quite well at the NIL. You see, I've got Mackenzie Mbako as the featured player, and why do I have him over Umar Ballo or Miles Rice? Well, Mackenzie is a guy that can space the floor. This is a problem that Indiana had last year. Kanan Carlisle helps with that. Luke Goody obviously helps with spacing the floor. I think Bryson Tucker, that may not be his strong suit in terms of spacing the floor, but I think it's something that will develop into his game. We saw, obviously, Trey Galloway was able to shoot the three with relative consistency last season. I think if he can come back healthy, he'll be able to do so. But the strength of this Indiana team is going to be up front. Malik Renew is a guy that a lot of people are looking at. I believe that he could be an all Big Ten performer. As I'm looking, his name comes up in the second round in some of these mock drafts. And so the talent is obviously there. A lefty in the post, strong body, great feel for the game. One of the better passers from a big that you're going to see in the Big Ten Conference. And then Umar Ballo was a guy that averaged a double-double last year, just shy of 13 points and over 10 rebounds. I think that he's going to get on the glass. And I think the usage rate of these guys, similar to what Illinois has, when you look at Trey Galloway, Bryson Tucker, if Ja'Kai Newton is going to be healthy, he was a McDonald's All-American, a guy that's got a body built by Fisher, just a big, strong, athletic kid. If he can be healthy, he can help at the point. Obviously, Miles Rice is a dynamic point guard that came in from Washington State, was an all Pac-12 performer. So this Indiana team has got some dynamic pieces on the offensive end. I think their starting lineup will look like this: Miles Rice, Keenan Carlisle, Mackenzie Mbako, Malik Renew, and Umar Ballo. And I know a lot of people would be like, well, why not start Trey Galloway? Well, Trey has had to overcome some injury issues. He's overcoming one, I believe, right now. And they want to ease him in. I don't know. He could very well start with no problem. Indiana will play some small ball. Mike Woodson has said as much, where Mackenzie Mbako will be at the 4. You might see Malik Renew at the 5, and maybe getting Galloway in with Kanan and Miles in the backcourt, or you might see Bryson Tucker at a 2, Miles Rice, Mackenzie Mbako, and Malik Renew. They have a lot of options with their size. And so I think these will be the starters. But again, Trey Galloway could easily be a starter. I think Bryson Tucker may have as much upside as anyone on this team in terms of a future pro. He's a guy that not a lot of people have seen, but I've got some intel because I'm connected a little bit in the DMV area. This kid is a future pro, in my opinion. 6'7", can do a little bit of everything, can run the point, can play the 2, can play the 3. I don't know if he can play small ball 4. I don't know if he can do that, but I do know that everything that pros have from a wing position in terms of change of pace, getting to the bucket, not being rushed, he's got it all. So these are guys that I think will be key, but they could be just as interchangeable as Illinois' lineup. You could see any of these guys possibly get in the lineup. Gabe Cupps played a lot last year due to Xavier Johnson's injury. Anthony Leal is a guy that came in and had some very clutch minutes for Indiana in certain ball games. And then if you look at Indiana's non-conference, they've got some tests, man. They're in that battle for Atlantis. So they're playing a revamped lineup for Louisville, which is they're going to be improved. And then the next game is they'll play either UConn or Memphis, which, okay, UConn, 2-time defending national champion. Memphis, a team that is probably going to need to win for Penny to have some stability in his 7th season there. But I think Memphis will be talented. And I don't know exactly who is on the other side, but they'll have 3 quality matchups in that battle for Atlantis. So this Indiana team, a lot of people feel like they could challenge for the Big Ten title. They certainly have the talent. They certainly have the size. And we'll see if it can all come together. All right. Now, moving on to our tribe appreciation. I want to play this video first to show you guys if I can get it in here. Let's see. Well, let me see if I can get this. Hold on. Let me take that off. Here we go. Check this out, y'all.
Hail to the orange, Lord, hail to the blue. Hail alma mater, Lord, ever so true. We love no other, so let our motto be victory, varsity, victory, Illinois, victory, varsity.
That deserves a round of applause. That was terrific, man. Spoon River Cowboy turned it out. So I've been reaching out to my tribe and I asked them for pictures because we're going to put a mural up back here of some of the tribe members. That's coming up as we start the season. And then I also asked, I said, look, I got gift certificates for people that can send a video of them doing their alma mater. Spoon River Cowboy, it's a wrap. It's over. That was the only video we got because it was so good that I don't think anybody wanted to challenge it. So big ups to Spoon River Cowboy for being a tremendous tribe member and sending in that video. I want to give another shout out to another great tribe member. His name is Curtis Deetz. And Curtis, he is an Illini fan. If you go to any game on the road, that's a big time game and he can get tickets to, Curtis will be there. Curtis was there in the first and second round in Omaha last year. He was out in Boston against for the Iowa State and Connecticut games. He's a tremendous supporter of the tribe. He was at the Champaign tribe meetup this summer, came and he's just a passionate tribe member. He's a passionate Illinois fan. Big ups to Curtis Deetz and big ups to Spoon River Cowboy. That's Curtis Deetz, our tribe member of the week. I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you, Spoon River Cowboy. That was excellent. I don't know if that can be topped. All right. Let's see here. Let me get to you guys' questions. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Curtis Deetz. Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo, who passed, I think it was either early this morning or late last night, of brain cancer at the age of 59. Was one of the best defensive centers in the NBA has seen. Came from Congo, was a proud African, did a lot for basketball on the continent of Africa. We're all very saddened for his passing. Rest in peace, Dikembe. Yeah, Curtis, I'm not surprised that you got a picture with him, man. He was a guy that beloved throughout college basketball, and we'll definitely miss him there. Samsonite One says, "Go Hawks!" All right. I'm feeling better about the Illini now. You and Rapheal not saying much about them. You know what, Thomas? The only reason I didn't have like Kasparis or Will Riley, two of the guys that would probably be candidates for the leading scorers for the Big Ten, I didn't put them as one of the leading scorers in the, I'm sorry. Kasparis and Will would be one of the leading candidates to be leading scorer for the Illini. But I think that the Illini are going to have 4 or 5 players in double figures. And it's not that I don't think that these guys I think they're crazy talented. I think Illinois can win the league. And I don't know that when you have 4 or 5 players that average double figures, that you'll have a top 5 or top 6 scorer in the Big Ten. Like when you look at Peyton Sanford, I mean, it's kind of set up for him to average 18. I think he was 16 or 17 last year. It's set up for him to score that much. It's set up for Dawson Garcia because he doesn't have a projected first round draft pick on his team. Neither does Peyton Sanford. And the other guys that I had, I believe I had Ace Bailey at Rutgers. Rapheal seems to think that Dylan Harper will be the one because he's got the ball in his hands. He could be right, but I think Ace Bailey is so dynamic that you just got to get him high usage and touches in order for Rutgers to really hit its ceiling. And so, yeah, that's why. But I think Will Riley, I think Kasparis, Yakushionis are going to be 2 of the better players in the league. I think that by the end of the season, we'll see. I'd be surprised if one of them wasn't an all Big Ten performer. And so, no, I'm very high on those guys. I am. It's just that you don't see me talking about them in those categories just because of the team makeup and how much talent the Illini is rocking with this year. Like, for example, Rapheal had Mackenzie Mbako as one of the leading scorers in Big Ten. I don't see that because I think Miles Rice is a guy that can score double figures. I think Kanan Carlisle can get double figures. I think Bryson Tucker is going to be one of the surprise in the league. If he isn't having double figures, I'd be very surprised. Umar Ballo averaged a double-double last year with a couple different pros on that Arizona team. I think he's a guy that can find it. Malik Renew should average double figures. So that's why when, you look at these teams and you look at the makeup, it's not that I'm knocking Mackenzie Mbako or Kasparis Yakgionis or Will Riley or those guys. It's just that they're on so much talent. Their teams have so much talent that I think that they're going to have to spread the wealth. Rutgers is going to have to spread the wealth a little bit. Jeremiah Williams is a guy who can score double figures, but I think I don't know that he's going to score as much just because these two freshmen are so dynamic. They're going to have the ball a lot in order for Rutgers to really be upper echelon, in my opinion. So, have no fear. I'm not hating on the Illini. It's not that. It's just the categories that we chose. That's why you didn't see any Illini players, because I just think that they have so much talent that they're going to have to spread the wealth a little bit. But thank you for that, Thomas. I appreciate you. Okay. Thomas sees what I mean. Curtis, what do you think about the quarterback in UNLV? I guess he's going to redshirt now. Hey, man, these players are standing on business. They have contracts now. They're making money. And it sounds like there was an assistant coach that promised $100,000 payment. Curtis, I think this is what I read or what I've heard. And he didn't receive whatever he was supposed to receive at a certain point. And, this is a young man that started his career at Holy Cross. So it's not like he doesn't know what's going on. Like, you can't get in Holy Cross if you're not somewhat about your books, somewhat about your studies. I believe he played his first 3 years at Holy Cross. So this isn't a guy that you're going to get over on like that. And so these players are standing on business. And if they're told something and it's in an agreement and the school doesn't come through, I mean, what's a player? It may look bad for the player on the surface, but I think if any of us were in a work situation and we were promised something and there was a date and that date has passed and you don't receive what you were supposed to receive, that's an issue for anybody. It just gets blown up because it's a college athlete. But I think it's I find it interesting. Curtis said he saw Rice in the tournament when he was at Washington State. The guy can score. And you know what, Curtis, he didn't even really I was calling those games. I called both of those Washington State games that you saw him play. And he really didn't look for a shot that much in either of those games. He probably should have in the second round. He might have advanced had he been a little bit more aggressive, but he can definitely score. He can get downhill. He's quick. And I think he likes to set up his teammates before he looks to shoot. So that's going to be something that I think is going to be interesting to see, and that he's going to have a lot of talent around him that will be able to take advantage of him being able to set up his teammates. I know that he'll have some familiarity with Kanan Carlisle based on both of those guys coming from the Pac-12. They've had a nice summer together, have those guys. And so when you go back and look at all the guys that Rice is going to be able to hit, when you think about it, let's see here. Let me take your comment off there. There we go. So Ja'Kai Newton is kind of a downhill guy. So I don't know that he's necessarily a spacer. Gabe Cupps kind of, he struggled with his three-point shooting and long-range shooting. That's not a big part of his game. So he may not space. Anthony Lill can space the floor. Malik Renew is going to do Malik Renew things. Bryson Tucker remains to be seen. Carlisle can space. Luke Goody, that's his specialty. And then you've got Trey Galloway, who you've got to, you've got to respect his ability to knock down a three. And so, and obviously Mackenzie Mbako is outside. He and Luke Goody will be their two best spacers. So when you look at that, I don't know that, Miles will be necessarily looking to really break down defenses unless he feels like he's got a mismatch or he's got a quickness advantage, but he's got so many guys to feed. Got so many guys to keep happy. Umar Ballo, he's got to get his touches. Malik Renew, he's got to get his touches. All these players, it's going to be fascinating to see how all these guys can get touches and feel good. Obviously, there are going to be some games where certain guys won't get touches, and that's just the name of the game now. But I think that Miles Rice definitely has the ability to score when needed, but will also need to set the table for a lot of different players, right? And then again, going back to what Thomas Dagley was saying. I mean, we didn't even talk about Ben Humrickhouse really. He can do everything. According to Underwood, he can put it on the deck as well. So you're talking about a guy in booty ball. That is Humrickhouse. I see Kylan Boswell being able to do that. Kasparis obviously would be able to do that. Will Riley, they may not play booty ball just because of his light frame right now, but in terms of just getting him on a wing and let him break guys down or put him in a pick and roll situation. Trey White, same thing. Ty Rodgers, I don't know with his improved outside shooting based on what he's been able to do in practice. I don't know that whether he'll be a spacer, whether he'll be a pick and pop guy or pick and roll guy with the ball. Who knows? I mean, he definitely can handle the ball well enough to do it. So a lot of options on both of these rosters. I think that's one of the reasons why people are viewing them so highly, just because of the plethora of talent and the way that they can hit you different ways. Ray says, what does Kylan Boswell bring to the fight in Illini? A lot. Boswell played with pros in Arizona. He can really, really shoot the ball from three. Maybe high 30% from three. He looks like he's dropped a little bit of weight, so he's gotten a little bit of his athleticism back. He will be a guy that can he'll be in a pick and roll all day long. He can do that all day long. I believe that he's a guy that will be able to post up smaller opponents. If you've got a cat quick point guard guarding Kylan Boswell, I believe you could put him in the booty ball situation and have him back down and either draw a double team or get into the lane. The thing that I liked about Kylan Boswell, even watching him at Arizona, was that he plays on balance. His balance is really good. Like he certain guys look like Ray, like they have a broomstick between their knees and their feet are always spaced properly and they're rarely off balance. He and Kasparis Yakashionis appear to be guys that have really good bases and their feet. They keep their balance really well. It's hard to get them off balance. And so when you've got guys like that, Kylan has that ability. He can play the booty ball that they want. He can be in that one-on-one situation that, again, you're either going to draw a double team. If you're not, he's going to put smaller guys in the popcorn popper, get them in the lane, jump hook them, whatever his move is in the post area, or pick and roll situation, and he'll be able to draw bigs out and maybe dump down to a diving Ivicic. Ivicic is a guy that can pick and pop. He's a big that can hit the three. I was talking to some coaches at Wisconsin. They're very high on Tomislav Ivicic. So he's very talented. Kylan Boswell, I think that he's going to be able to initially set the table, and maybe Kasparis, but I think it's going to be Kylan Boswell. But they're going to just be interchangeable with the way that he shoots the three. Ray, he can be a spacer on the other side, and you can't double off of him because he's stinging the three. And then you've got another decision, a guy that can make decisions with the ball as a closeout is coming. He can break a defense down and make something happen. So Colin Boswell is going to bring a lot to this Illini team. And I think that you're going to see the improvement the dedication that he's made in his body. You're going to see the improvement in his quickness level. I don't think that he was able to force a lot. He didn't get to the free throw line a lot at Arizona, maybe just because Ballo inside, Caleb Love on the wing, he was high usage. He needed the rock. I think he had KJ Lewis, but there was another big that was really talented, went to the NBA draft. His name escapes me. But I think Colin will get to the line a little bit more than he did it last year at Arizona. So he's going to bring a lot, Ray. He's very skilled. He doesn't get mentioned as much maybe as he should, just because Kasparis is so talented. Will Riley is very, very talented. But I think that he brings a lot to what the Illini are doing. Is everything fine with Ivicic? As far as I can tell, F your mother. I think so. I haven't heard anything coming out of Champaign to state otherwise. I heard there was something back in, what was it, late August, early September, but I haven't heard anything else, and I haven't heard anyone talking like he's not going to be with the team. So I'm under the assumption that he will. Big Ten Media Day is Thursday, so I'll have more information then. But I think everything's a go. And again, heard very good things about him. Space the floor. He can, when bigs are in that pick and roll situation, that ball screen action, he can come in the mid post and catch and make a shot. He can make a decision. He's got good enough footwork in the post. He's got international experience, as does Kasparis. So, I from everything I've heard, that he's going to be good. Good to go. And you tag team him with Merez Johnson. You've got a dynamic front line for the Illini. Ivicic, a 7-footer. Merez Johnson is 6'9", but plays hard and is strong. So both those guys give Illinois quite a tandem up front. Very, very good. Let me look that up. F your mother. I crack up every time I see his name and his moniker on YouTube. It's so funny to me. Hold on. Let me see the date on that Ole Miss. That is October 27th, Sunday, October 27th at 1 p.m. Central. I would think that somebody's going to pick that up television-wise, because that's going to be at Ole Miss in Oxford. So I'd be surprised if SEC Network or Big Ten Network didn't actually pick that up. But that's going to be good as well, because Ole Miss, I don't know where they're ranked. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. SEC men's basketball season rankings. Let's see if I can find something on Ole Miss and where they are slated. No, that's ESPN's top 25. Let me see. Yeah, this was 24/7. Let's see here. Yeah, they got Auburn 1, Alabama 2, Tennessee 3, Texas A&M 4. Oh, Florida 5. Okay. Arkansas 6th. If Arkansas is 6th and Kentucky is 7th in the SEC, they got Ole Miss at 8. So this is 24/7 preseason. Ole Miss at 8. Matthew Merrill is a bucket getter. I don't know that he returned. I don't know enough about Ole Miss to really comment on them, but preseason 8th, which doesn't mean a whole lot, because the SEC is going to be it's going to be rough. Gonna be very, very rough this year. Deion Hoops page, Trey McKinney. Now, I'm not as well versed on the high school prospects that are coming into the Big Ten. You say that he has his 3 teams are Michigan, Georgetown, and USC. If Michigan gets him, look out. All right, Trey McKinney, I'll look out for him. Yeah, the Ole Miss game. Yeah, everybody wants to see Illinois practice. I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, everybody wants to see the Illini, so we'll see how they turn out against Ole Miss. What's up, Ron? Ron, used to be midnight mass was the start of official practice, right? Do many teams go midnight mass anymore? I don't think so, Ron. I think certain teams will do certain things, but I think that kind of where Snoop Dogg came to Kansas, some rappers showed up in some different places for especially practice night. That doesn't happen anymore, because official practice have already started. And I think that Rutgers did kind of a showcase exhibition over the weekend to kind of get fans excited about Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, Tyson Acuff and company coming into Rutgers. And so, but in terms of a midnight madness, I don't think not many teams do that anymore, if they do it at all. Kyrie Thompson, who would you say is on paper the deepest team in the Big Ten? Illinois. Fighting Illini. Indiana's close. Maryland's got some depth. Maryland has some depth there. Wisconsin is deep. Wisconsin is really deep, and they're older. That's a team to watch out for. That's a team that I don't know that a lot of people are paying much attention to. Was able to see them practice. John Tanjay wasn't even there. He was gone for personal reasons, but they've got 2 at every position. So Wisconsin is deep. But I think the deepest team with the most talent, I would have to give the nod to Illinois. Purdue is going to be deep. I think Purdue is deep. But, when you've got projected Kasparis in one mock is close to the lottery. I think he was, let's see. Bleacher Report has him number 9. That put him in the lottery. ESPN has him number 18. That's smack dab in the middle of the first round. Will Riley is 22nd on ESPN's mock draft and 20 on Bleacher Report. So out of the five projected first round picks, Illinois got 2, Rutgers has 2, and Kwame Evans of Oregon is another one. And that's kind of ESPN has got 4. Yaku Shionis and Riley. And ESPN's, and they've got Kwame Evans 35th early in the second round. So I think that Indiana, Wisconsin, Purdue, Maryland. I think Michigan has some depth. I think they've got some guys that are unproven though, who they're going to have to count on. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Michigan has that kind of depth. Michigan State, yeah, Michigan State's got some depth, but I think Illinois is the deepest and most talented team in the league. Indiana's right there as well, but I'd give the nod to Illinois. Yeah, Mean Streets, Fly Illini Fly. Wasn't didn't Ty Rogers play for Main Streets as well out of Michigan? I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. I'll definitely check him out. Let's see. Curtis Deetz. Illinois is deep, but how many players would get minutes? Most teams don't play more than 8 guys. Yeah, that's the whole thing, Curtis. Most teams don't play more than eight guys, but you're going to have to play these guys early on. And I didn't even mention Gibbs Lawhorn. He's a guy he's gonna get minutes. And so when you go back, let me pull up what I had here in terms of Illinois'. I got Illinois starters, right? That's who I think will start. Now, I say key players, and I guess I could put Gibbs Lawhorn in there instead of Jake Davis, but Jake Davis is a bigger body. He can space the floor. One of his strengths is shooting a 3. So if he can do anything defensively, will he have an edge over Gibbs Lawhorn? That's what I mean. That's how deep Illinois is. I've got a hard time putting these guys who are going to get minutes in 2 starting 5s. So, I mean, yeah, Curtis Deetz, you might be right. The teams play 8 guys, but Illinois is going to have to play 10, 11 guys to start because they got to figure out who's going to be in the rotation. Like you can't not just play some of these guys because they're too talented. That's just my opinion. Historically, you're right. Historically, you're right that you don't see more than 8 guys playing at a time. But I just gotta give them a look, don't you? Illinois hands down deepest team. Yeah, I in terms of talent and deep, yeah. I think Illinois is. Indiana's right there again. Purdue is deep, but they've got some unproven guys up front. As does Illinois. Marez Johnson's unproven. Daniel Jacobson at Purdue had a really good run with USA basketball. He's talented. Will Berg has some experience going up against Zach Edey every day. So Purdue is deep. I just think Illinois is as deep, and they have more talent. Casey Booth is a guy that I didn't really mention, but he's on the NBA radar with his length and athleticism. So, yeah, Illinois. I think Illinois is probably the deepest team, and yeah, I'd give them the nod on the talent, even over Indiana. I know people like Indiana. I know some people like Michigan State. I haven't seen anybody pick Illinois to win the league, though. That's kind of interesting to me. I see a lot of 2, 3. Somebody had them 8th. That's kind of interesting to me. But we'll see. We'll see. But I do like Illinois' depth and talent. All right, guys. It looks like that's it for your questions. Make sure that you want to join the tribe. You can join by texting 312-847-2739 or go to bardostribe.com, sign up for the newsletter. You're automatically injected into the tribe. All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I appreciate you tuning in. Oh, wait a minute. Did I get to all you guys? Oh, where do you think Illinois will be ranked preseason media Big Ten poll? If I had to guess, I would say probably anywhere between maybe first through, I don't know, 6th. Somebody that picked them 8th, maybe not. They may not really follow the Big Ten maybe as much. I can't see Illinois 8th with that, but anywhere between 1st and 6th or 7th, something like that. I can see them in there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And And until next time, holla, y'all.